use a framework here as an example. Okay? Let's say we have a framework like this. Today we're going to have a bit of a framework change here. So we have something like this, and we have that. This is ID. What will be this?
D.
And this one?
Mediator.
The arrow. Moderator.
Is it a mediator or moderator? Moderator. Are you sure?
Yes.
Is it also an ID?
No.
Is it also an ID? When you have a variable like this, let's look at it this way. Those at the back, I hope you can see this. When you have a variable like this, right? In this case, this variable here is a moderator. At the same time, it's independent variable. It's independent on one side because you can see here, you have a variable having an arrow to another variable. So in that case, ignore this. Assuming this one is not there. Assume this one is not there, and we have something like this. This is exactly like having two IDs and one dependent variable. Can you see that? Good. But we are also adding another variable here, another link, which shows that an arrow coming to an arrow. And when an arrow comes to an arrow, we call it what? A moderating variable. So this variable here is a mediator at the same time. Sorry, is a moderator at the same time an independent variable. So let's say this variable here is OCB, okay? Organizational citizenship behavior. Organizational citizenship behavior. And this variable here is religiosity. Religiosity, and this variable here is workplace jealousy. Yeah, workplace jealousy is a variable. Actually, this is a framework of one of my students who just passed on his thesis for Viva on Thursday. Those coming to do their defense on Thursday. That's his variable. That's his framework for MPhil. Right, and he did a very good job. It shows that religiosity can easily influence organizational citizenship behavior where there is no office jealousy. But where you have office jealousy moderating, the impact of the religiosity on the citizenship behavior becomes less, which is very logical, right? But he tested it. So assuming we're going to write problem definition. Problem definition is also called problem statement. So when we are going to write problem statement on this particular framework, one politician said on this paputila, when you have a lot of pressure. So on this particular framework, right, if you are going to write a problem statement, what do you think, on which variable do you think we can start? What should we start writing about?
Jealous.
Which one? Very good. Someone said OCB. Do you agree?
Yes.
Why OCB? Why OCB?
Because problem statements generally are based on the outcome.
Very good. Excellent. Because problem statements depends particularly on the outcome, because the research you are writing, remember we said the problem for which you are writing is the outcome. We are doing this research because there is problem with organizational citizenship behavior, right? So what is OCD in the first place? When employees work above and beyond what the organization requires without taking any salary or without any reciprocal requirements from the organization. Now when you do that, in OB terms, we call it organizational citizenship behavior. And there are quite a number of dimensions about that. Good. So if I'm going to write a problem statement on this, the very first thing I'll consider is the outcome, and then you highlight problems with the outcome. And what are the problems here? We can see that most of our employees are quite less when it comes to exhibiting citizenship behaviors. People are not friendly, right? And not friendly is even better. People are, having very bad competition in the office. And when you say this, you should be citing evidence. All right, I can show you a sample of the evaluations we use for presentation. Those who are going to present on Thursday, if you go to my car now, I have all their books I'm carrying around, trying to evaluate. When we have the forms and the reports, the very first question is about the problem statement. Whether you have evidence, whether the student is giving evidence for a problem statement. So what is the evidence here? The evidence here would be to say that there is a whole lot of research, statistical research, that is showing currently that people in organizations are not having OCD. And when you say that, you support it with evidence. Like I said, statistical. You can say according to the HR Society of Ghana, they reported that. What did they report? Then you mention it and you capture the references nicely within the text. Then after that, then you go to the next, perhaps even in the newspapers. You can cite references even in newspapers. Right? That shows that with regard to OCD in Ghana, right, there is something less. To just to justify your claims. Let me give you one other example. Someone was writing on employee job stress. This is another thesis. Right? She's also going to defend it on Thursday. Employee job stress. Now this is how she started it. Very, very nice. She said, employee job stress, when not managed properly, can lead to burnout, which can even cause death. The very first statement can even cause death. And when people hear death, you know what happens to their mind? People start asking questions. Really? That means it's very serious. And then she started showing examples. I even shared with her one video about that. Right? Cause death. Because it shows that when people have stress, and the stress goes beyond a particular point, it causes issues with the heart. And the heart, when it's faced with extreme grief or sadness, it gallops. And when it gallops, it forces all the veins and the arteries within the heart to constrict, leading to breakdown of the heart. So when they say something like broken heart, they said there is a physical broken heart in the heart itself. It's physically, not only the metaphorical heart, but physically, that grief or that sadness due to relationships, all right, or due to the loss of the loved one, if that grief or anger, all these things, and stress also, because all these things relate to stress, and all these things also, when it happens, it constricts the veins and the arteries in the heart. That causes them to break, and when it breaks, it causes some issue. And that issue, if it's not managed, is where people start to develop cardiovascular diseases, and it can even lead to death if it's not managed. Can you imagine when someone writes this problem statement and is citing the evidences? Then you start to ask the question, what then can we do? Do you get the idea? What then can we do? Then when you are reading the problem statement, the person is citing all these things, So you see, even this is HR, but the lady or the student went even out of HR to biology. Read extra to get details to support her claim that employee job stress can be an issue if it's not managed. And when that happened, then she came down and suggested that some independent variables needs to be studied, because these variables shows in research that there is a gap. Many research have looked at employee job stress, However, very few considered work-life balance and how it will influence employee job stress. Therefore, what it means is that if work-life balance is not managed, it can also lead to death. Another variable she had is when you have responsibilities in the office above and beyond what you can do and you cannot complain. That also will lead to employee job stress, and that can also cause death. So 3, 4, or 5 variables she has: mediators, moderators, and independent variable, because it's an MPhil. Okay, all leading to the employee burnout or workplace or burnout generally. It leads to workplace stress, and stress leads to burnout. So burnout is actually her dependent variable, but you can see how she managed to discuss it very beautifully. I think she got an A even before the defense. Yes, because everything, when you read, everything flows. But she took long time in the MPhil, more than 3 years, almost 3 years in the MPhil alone. But it was an excellent job done. Even some people said that research can even qualify for a PhD. Right? Good. So let me go back to the slides. As on, I'll be coming back to explain how we do this. So here in this chapter, that's the very first thing we are talking of. I'll be skipping most of the slides because I already discussed. Right? So I'll seek to just go through it. Okay, so this is the learning outcomes, the LOs. Decision statement. Good. There are cases also, there are times we call it decision statements. Problem statement is also called decision statement, and it's also called motivation of research. I think I didn't mention this before. If you come for presentation and someone says, the examiner says, can you tell us the motivation behind your research? In other words, it's sort of talking about your problem statement. These are key terms that we use interchangeably. Alright. This guy here is thinking, there's a situation, and he's thinking of the situation, how to come up with a very good problem statement, but that will also lead him to have what we call research questions as well as objectives. These ones have been explained. I'll skip them. Now, for problem definition. For you to have a very good problem statement, we need some steps. These steps came in exam before. Examinable. Examinable. I have started. But this came in exam before. The question came like this. Within the case, we gave a case. Now within the case, you are requested to come up with a problem statement within that case. And then we ask B, what are the steps in coming up with a good problem statement? So these are the steps. Understand the situation, identify the problems, write the individual decisions, determine the unit of analysis, relevant variables, as well as the research questions and objectives. Okay. Situation analysis, I will not discuss this part. For those doing qualitative research, when it gets to collecting data, we have to learn probing questions. Right? How to probe. When you are interviewing someone and the person is speaking above and beyond the topic, you are talking about your research, and the person is telling you about his family and all the cats and the dogs in his house. You use probing and sending questions to bring back the person on track. So that's why it's mentioned here. Alright? Interrogative techniques during interviews as well as the probing of questions. Good. Now when you look at this here, we are linking the challenge in this organization with the problem statement. Okay? And this is what can help us. There are 3 situations here. Each situation has a different way of coming up with the problem statement. Good. Managerial decision making, I think this one is explained. Translation decision statement. Good. Unit of analysis. What is unit of analysis? I discussed this in the class last weekend. When we talk of unit of analysis, what is it?
That is an employee or the organization.
Good. It's an employee organization. That's what we discussed. Yes, here in the slides it's giving us others. But generally we have two main units of analysis. And for the sake of those who were not here last time, we said when you are collecting data and it happens that, for instance, in this classroom, if I say I'm looking at the effectiveness of employees or the productivity of all employees, what it means is that every employee will get one questionnaire to answer for himself and for his own or her own sake. But if I say I'm looking at the effectiveness of banks, it means every bank is one employee, one sample. I hope it's clear. And in that bank, I'm giving to the leader of the bank, who is the CEO or the manager. The general manager of that bank will fill up the questionnaire on behalf of the bank. So the former is individual unit of analysis, and the latter is organizational unit of analysis. And this question is those questions that we'll be asking on Thursday. On Thursday we're going to be very busy and everybody will be very busy. You see people will be sweating. Even the aircon is very cold, like 16. And some will be sweating on the aircon. Right? That if you don't prepare very well. But I believe all of us here be well prepared. Okay, I pray so. Someone is doing this. Do this. Please. You can do it, right? If others can do it, you can even do it better. So that's unit of analysis. Any question on that? The others we added, like department, geographical, and objects, those are when you are looking at advanced research, a research by the UN, right, United Nations, that goes across countries. In that case, we can take data based on geographical location. That is geographical unit of analysis, but that's not what we're doing here. Our research will only have mainly either individual or organizational. Now, for those going organizational, you have to be very careful. Where it can be, it's a very slippery road. You can forget, and before you realize, you give two people from the same organization a questionnaire. An examiner will ask you, why the two of them from the same organization? And you cannot answer, and that is a major correction. So the easiest way and the simplest way to go by is to make sure you are looking at what? Individual unit of analysis. Recently, there was one student who was looking at SMEs, small medium enterprises, and he collected data from all SMEs that he can have. Meanwhile, his sample size is 315. So we're asking him, do you think we have 315 SMEs? Did you go to each of them? And then this guy is standing there. Alright? He was lucky it was just mock. We prepared mock for our own students in our department. So they presented. So we got to realize that we said, look, you are lucky it's a mock, it's not the main exam. If the main exam and the examiner normally comes from here or from UCC, then you'll be in trouble. So from now until Thursday, make sure you go and fix it. I think he's still struggling to fix. So take note, especially those who will have or who will take organizational unit of analysis. You have to be very, very careful. Multi-level analysis studies variables measured at more than one unit of analysis. Now, what's multi-level analysis? What's multi